So today's kind of part two, if yesterday was part one. So yesterday I filmed my Bob Ross impersonation with the Aussie twist. Today I'm editing the video, and it's going to be a pretty intensive sort of edit. Not specifically for the edit itself, because the edit should be fairly straightforward. If anything, it's going to be a really easy edit because I tried to record, everything's chronological, and then I also tried to record in such a way that it's just really sort of seamless. And so the edit, much like a Bob Ross episode, my video will have cuts. I don't even know if the Bob Ross show has, you know, cuts, because he just seems to go so seamlessly. Maybe it does, it probably does. But I'm gonna try and make mine look as if it isn't cut, or it doesn't have any edits, even though it took me an hour to paint this thing and I'm stuffed up a bit. I'll hopefully be able to edit it in a way that looks seamless. And then once I've done that, really today's about making it look authentic. And that I've never done before, but I'm really looking forward to it. And this is the sort of thing I have a lot of fun with, looking up how to make chromatic aberration to make a video look sort of like that VHS look, adding some film grain, cropping it at the sides, tweaking the audio, all of that stuff so that it looks really like an 80s instructional video. So the first part is taking these two layers. One is the GoPro and then the other is my GH5, and just doing the edit. And basically I do it with them both nested and both visible. I shrink them both inside the nest, and then I just sort of edit, and whenever I change a camera I just drag it onto a layer on top of a semi-transparent black layer. So if I bring the transparency to what is it, full opacity, you can see that, you know, obviously that's the camera that's off, and then over here it switches up, flicks over, and that just makes it easy for me to understand which camera is currently in view while everything is at my disposal. And it makes it really easy to sort of make my picks or undo mistakes. And if I want to sort of go back to, let's say in this shot, go back to the other camera angle, I can just do that, and then it just swaps it over. So it makes it really easy to undo stuff and also see it all at once. Alright, so I've been editing away for maybe an hour and a half so far, and I was pretty uncertain about how it would carry because I really aimed to follow the same format and pace as the original Joy of Painting series. But it's a parody and it's supposed to be sort of a joke and make people laugh. So I didn't know if it would be too slow paced and sort of bore people, but I'm hoping that the whimsy and the I suppose gimmick of the matching of themes will be entertaining enough that people want to keep watching. But every now and then some of the deliveries are delivered so straight, like just as if that they catch me off guard and I find myself laughing, and then I'm thinking, okay, that's a good thing. But there are one or two moments where they weren't even like planned jokes. This was just me, you know, doing the video where I've kept it in because I've messed up or done something on the side that I wasn't, you know, scripted or planned or anything. That I think just really adds to the slightly tacky Aussie bloke sort of thing I was going for. Case in point, there's this section here where I'm about to paint this next area or whatever, and I just do this big burp just as I'm preparing to do the next filming bit. So I wasn't trying to like do anything specific or be funny. I just did a massive burp. Maybe I'm just laughing at myself, but I feel like people watching this, like, it's gonna be really low-key, like really sort of easygoing in tone, and moments like that I'm hoping will just sort of surprise people and will just catch them off guard and make them laugh. So I'm hoping the end result is going to be really entertaining for everyone, but I'm just going to get through the rest of the edit and we'll see how it comes together. I'm going through and doing all my nips and tucks. This is an interesting sort of refinement process because usually for my videos I'm adding music and various sound effects, and my zoom ins and outs are about punctuating jokes and you know, distracting from inconsistencies in the recording. Whereas in this case, it's about creating as much of a flow as possible so it looks like it's all in one take, and then also mimicking the original videos, which I've sort of mentioned a few times, to the point where now I'm downloading episodes of The Joy of Painting and sampling the audio from when he like washes his brush and beats it against the what do you call it, the easel. So this is what it's like without the added sample. So this is the original audio. Obviously it's very, you know, unsubstantial. And then we add the sample here, which I've taken from a Bob Ross video. So it's like totally mimicking. By the way, I really like how the style mimicry is coming along. So if I go to like different points of the video, you'll notice that, you know, you've got the same side croppings and all that stuff. So yeah, it feels pretty authentic, and I haven't even added my overlays yet to make it look grainy and sort of old. This is still sort of HD footage, so I'm gonna have to go through next and make it look as vintage as I can. I'm even doing things where if I have a shot like this, where it starts off with me mixing the paint, and in the same shot I end up painting, I sort of use this timeline editor to reposition when I move in the one take, like this, and then I add an ease between these points here like this, and that way it makes it look like a cameraman is reacting to what I'm actually doing. We're just gonna go across here on the right. See, it's really subtle, but just then that camera sort of moved up following behind my motion there, so it makes it feel like the old school studio production and everything. Okay, it's already 5 p.m. I've finished creating the vintage look for the most part, and it's taken a lot of work. I want to show you what I've got so far, but the next thing I'm doing is the intro. I've done a green screen. It looks pretty shonky, but that's okay because the original looks pretty shonky, so I'm just gonna roll with it. So this is what it looks like without any of the vintage effects, and then with the vintage effects, it looks a bit like this. So it's very subtle. Basically, it's a film grain that's applied on top. Even if I hide it and bring it back, you'll barely see it, but it's sort of a motion throughout that sort of carries the effect a bit. Then you'll notice there's chromatic aberration. Basically, that means around the edges of things. And again, this is really subtle, but like for around here, for example, just on the left, you'll see some red, and on the right, you'll see some blue. And that's sort of like this old school VHS effect, because everything was layered in red, white, red, blue, green layers. So I'm just sort of dividing those. The layers I've actually put in as individual red, blue, green layers, and then moved them very slightly, and that's what created that effect. Then other than that, I've just added some grain, and that's the vintage look. So the next thing I'm working on is the intro, and this is my terrible green screen. Now I knew it would be pretty bad green screen because A, I'm wearing a green top, and then B, the lighting was pretty tough to work with, but that's okay because it actually serves the content that it looks bad, because it's meant to look like the original. So it opens up with that sort of classic Bob Ross opening where he paints the thingy. So now I actually have to go through and manually do each of the frames for the background being painted. So this is going to take some time. So I guess I'll come back and report on how that goes. Alright, about an hour later, I have the intro finished, and I'm gonna end here for the day because I think this is a really great high note to finish off on.
G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of Grouse Painting. Today is a very special day, it's Australia Day, so I'd like to start off by wishing my fellow Aussies a happy Australia Day, most of whom are probably enjoying their favourite pastime, taking a day off work.
I'm going to wrap up with the question of the day. I'll take it from Philippe Pesponton, who says, now that you have an editor and got more time to freely produce more quality content, would you find any space or time to come back with the Tabletop Time channel? Please, I've been asking for a month now. I've noticed, I'm sorry I haven't got to your question yet. To be completely honest, Tabletop Time isn't realistic while the channel is as intensely my full-time job as it has been. When things start to slow down, that will be something I could bring back, but also I don't really want things to start slowing down because that sort of means my career starts to slow down a bit. So just to be completely honest, the time that I save by having an editor, I'm just putting directly into bringing up the quality of the content, and it's going to continue to happen that way. And if I get several editors and they all do all of that work, it just means that I can do more and bigger stuff. So Tabletop Time, holds a dear place in my heart, but it's in the future. And maybe there might be 1 or 2 special occasions where we do sort of like a once-off thing, but as far as it being a recurring thing, don't hold your breath. That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. I've had a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but I am really satisfied with the outcome, and it's just like exactly the tone that I was hoping for. And I'm so glad that all that work that I put into the filming has really come through in the edit. I'm just like really wrapped about that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.